Am I the asshole for not wanting my girlfriend's mother to move in with us? I and my girlfriend have been together for almost 6 years. We just moved into a house that I bought and own a month and a half ago. I'm a first-time homeowner, and this is my first time living on my own away from my parents. She's been living in an apartment for a few years prior to moving in here. We make enough to live comfortably. We bring home around $80 K combined, and as a result, I was able to buy a pretty big house for the two of us, nearly the size of my parents' home. I alone pay the mortgage and utilities. Since it's my house, girlfriend has been generous enough to buy groceries, subscriptions, etc. She also paid for some of the furniture we have when we moved in. The issue here came up about a week ago. Girlfriend's mom, Anne, isn't well off. She lived in a trailer with her boyfriend and they broke up a few months ago, so she'd been living with her mom and mom's husband. Anne's mom died a couple of weeks ago from cancer, and now her mom's husband is kicking her out. She has the possibility of living with my girlfriend's sister and her boyfriend, who live with the boyfriend's parents, but Anne's been insistent on moving in with us. I am firmly against this. It's my house. I'm very much enjoying living on my own, and honestly, I don't want anyone else here. It's not my fault that her mom hasn't done anything to improve her financial situation, and I shouldn't be forced to endure her consequences of her actions. The fact that, to my knowledge, she isn't even looking at apartments, other trailers in that area, or a job just shows me that she intends to move in here and stay here. I can tell my girlfriend doesn't want that either, but wants to cave and ask me to allow it, though she's been avoiding the subject directly with me given the uncomfortable situation she's understandably in. I love her to death, but she's a massive pushover when it comes to her mom. She had me driving to Walmart to get food and cigarettes for her mom when we started dating, because her mom was too lazy to. My girlfriend's sister has been saying I'm an asshole because we have a bigger house, and can easily take her in. I told her outright, it's not my mom and not my problem, which caused her to throw a tantrum on the phone, and she accused me of trying to make her mom homeless. I've been feeling guilty, but I want to hold my ground. I don't want to enable her mom to sit around here all day drinking. So, am I the asshole? Update. Hey folks, a few people messaged me about an update to the post I made a while ago on AITA, so here it is. My girlfriend, now fiancé, and I are fine. We talked about it and agreed since it is my house, I would be the one to grow a pair and say no. Her mom came up to visit, probably to scout out the house she thought she would be living in, and I laid it all out for her over dinner. After sitting down and having some small talk, I essentially said that under no circumstances would she be moving in with us. And that was that. She got pretty agitated, trying to guilt me with what's the big deal. Where will I go? I'll be on the street if you don't let me move in. I started to reiterate that it's not our problem, but I remembered some of the suggestions that the commenters on the original post gave, and suggested public housing, some local assistance programs like food pantries, etc. She still wasn't having it though. She's very entitled. She said it would be a lot easier for her, of course. These people only think of themselves. If we just let her move in, she didn't want to go through the hassle of applying for public housing. She doesn't want to have to go to the food banks, stuff like that. We kind of went back and forth, talking over each other, and it escalated to the point that I kicked her out. Didn't lay any hands on her, but I took her plate of food and threw it out, and told her to get the hell out of my house. She left after some yelling, and my new neighbors saw the whole show of her cursing me out and peeling out of my driveway, chewing up some of my yard during the process. So that was fun. When the yelling started, my girlfriend retreated to our bedroom, and after her mother left, I went back in to find her crying. After giving her some time and cleaning up dinner, I didn't so much throw her mom's plate out as I did launch it at the trash can, so it was everywhere. I went back in and we had a long talk about what happened. She told me I did the right thing, but I had scared her with all the yelling. She has a lot of childhood trauma, unsurprisingly, but I reassured her that her mom wouldn't be coming back, and this whole thing was over. So far, that's rung true. I suggested she give therapy a shot since her family is such a mess and she has a lot of baggage she could talk out, and she agreed, only asking if I would attend some sessions with her, which I happily agreed to. She's been to 3 sessions so far alone, and a 4th one with both of us, and from what I've heard they've been going very well. So that's pretty much it. Her mother has pissed off back to the hole she came from, and hasn't bothered us since. Asked her to marry me last week and she said yes, so I'm looking forward to starting this new chapter in our lives, and no, her mother won't be invited to the wedding. Thank you all for your helpful comments and suggestions. They really helped me out. Am I the asshole for forcing my daughter to share a birthday celebration with her twin brother? I have 2 kids, Paige and Dylan. As twins, most years they've wanted to have a joint birthday celebration, but there have been a couple of years where they've decided to have separate parties with different friend groups or at different locations. They tell me a few weeks before their birthday in May which thing they want to do that year. So this year Paige told me that she and Dylan had decided they wanted to have their own parties, and she and her friends had already picked a whole theme and the activities that they wanted to do. I approved Paige's plan, and then a day or so later I asked Dylan what he wanted to do for his birthday party. At this point I learned that Dylan and Paige had not mutually decided that they were having separate celebrations this year, and me asking Dylan about it was the first he was hearing that he was expected to have his own party. His feelings were very hurt that Paige had cut him out without so much as talking to him about it. So I spoke with Paige and she admitted that she and her friends had decided on their own to exclude Dylan because they felt that a boy would wreck the activities they had planned. I told Paige that it wasn't okay for her to treat her brother that way, and that the party I'd originally agreed to was now cancelled, and that I expected her and Dylan to plan a joint birthday celebration with activities that all of their friends could enjoy. Dylan is much happier with this arrangement, but Paige is angry and keeps saying that I ruined her party. I'm worried that I might have made a misstep, because normally I try very hard to treat my kids as individuals and not just as a pair of twins, and I'm worried that forcing Paige to share her birthday celebration with Dylan might send the wrong message on that front. So am I the asshole? Edit. I've already realized that making Paige and Dylan share a birthday celebration is an unreasonable punishment, for various reasons, and won't be doing so. Y'all can calm down now. Sheesh. Update. I've had several DMs asking how the situation turned out and if I apologized to Paige, so I figured I'd just make an update. So I talked with both Paige and Dylan over the weekend and told them that I wouldn't make them share their birthday party. I told Paige I realized that forcing her to share a birthday party with Dylan was an unfair punishment, because I knew it was more important to treat her like an individual and not like one half of a matching set. And I apologized for forgetting that and told her I wouldn't let it happen again. Paige asked if that meant that she could still have the birthday party that she and her friends had planned. I told her that I wasn't sure because I still wasn't happy with her for lying to me in the first place. Paige said that she was more way upset about having to tell her friends that her party was cancelled than about having to share a party with Dylan, and that she didn't really get why I was apologizing for that instead. I asked Paige what she thought a more appropriate consequence for lying was instead of having her party cancelled, and she suggested getting grounded. So that's what we're going with? Lastly, I told Paige that since I know she and Dylan are getting older now, I'll just assume going forward that they want to have separate parties every year. Paige said that she only did this year because her friends decided they didn't want any boys. I told her that was fine, and I guessed we'd just talk about it again next year. And then I told Dylan that I was letting Paige have her all-girls party with her friends, and that I realized I shouldn't have used sharing a birthday party with him as a punishment because that wasn't fair to either one of them. Dylan said it was okay and that if he was having a solo party after all, he knew what he wanted to do for it. I also told Dylan that since he and Paige are getting older now, I'd start assuming that they want separate parties unless they tell me otherwise. Dylan said he guessed that made sense. So that's pretty much it. Dylan and Paige are each having their own party, and at some point they talked it up between themselves as far as Dylan's feelings being hurt that Paige hadn't talked to him about what she wanted to do this year. I wasn't involved in the conversation, but they've been friends again since it happened.
Am I the asshole for not letting my niece call me mom? Okay, so I have a bit of a story. When I was 19, I got pregnant and was extremely irresponsible and decided to keep the baby with my at the time boyfriend. We passed the window to get the baby aborted, and as the due date grew closer, we realized just how unsustainable having a baby was at the time, and he ran out on me. I have no idea what to do, but my absolutely wonderful brother and his wife were having trouble conceiving, so they proposed that they raised my child like their own. I said yes, and I am so thankful they allowed me to have a part in her life because she is a magnificent person. My brother suddenly passed away a few years ago, but he was the greatest man who ever walked on this planet. She began living with me after her father died. Her mother isn't in the picture anymore. Long story, but it's not happy. And a few months ago she found out I'm actually her biological mother. She's been coming to terms with it, and she tells me she loves hanging out with me and does see a lot of herself in me. This morning she called me mom. And I immediately stopped her and told her not to call me that. She told me that I am literally her mother, so she should be allowed to call me mom. And then I told her I am her aunt, not her mom. Then after she continued to push, I said, "So does that mean you should call dad uncle name?" That made her stop dead in her tracks, and she stopped and then just slowly left the room. Maybe that was a little bit of a cheap shot considering how fucking close she was with him before he passed, but yeah. Am I the asshole for not letting her call me mom? Update. After reading some of the comments and engaging with them, I decided to talk to her, and I told her I was very sorry for my low comment about her father and I miss him terribly too. And I didn't feel comfortable being called mom because I felt I hadn't earned it yet. She was just kind of like, yeah, okay, and we moved on. Then last night she randomly asked if she could sleep in my bed with me. I was kind of unsure what to do, so I just said okay. And then she got in and snuggled up next to me. This is going to sound cheesy as hell, but when she put herself in my arms, I had this surreal flashback to when she was sleeping in my arms on the day she was born. I had a wave of emotions and started feeling like I was an idiot for giving her up, even though my brother was a better parent than I ever could be. And I had this realization that I've been a fucking idiot this whole time because I didn't see I now have an opportunity to actually be her mom after so many years of feeling like I missed out on that. I embraced her in my arms and started to cry. She asked if everything was okay, and I told her everything is perfect. I sincerely hope I didn't screw myself and make her never want to call me mom ever again after my response last time. Either way, I couldn't be more proud of this young woman, and I'm so happy I get to have this role in her life. Anyway, yeah, sorry for the long-winded response. If you made it to the end, thank you, I appreciate it.